The Protea Magistrates Court in Soweto is expected to hand down judgment in application in which second Vlakfontein murder accused Fita Khupe wants charges against him dropped. This follows the alleged suicide of his co-accused Ernest Mabaso last month. Mabaso was found hanging from shoelaces in a Cape Town holding cell while police were conducting further investigations. Police watchdog IPID is probing the circumstances surrounding his death. New damning evidence reveals that Mabaso's shoelaces were removed and booked into the register before he was placed in the holding cell. Our reporter Gillian Pillay is there covering the story for us. A very good morning to you, Gillian. Before we go into what we can expect today, please give us a bit of background in terms of this story.
A very good morning to you, Desiree. Last week and the week before that, we saw quite a dramatic twist of events in this particular matter. You'll remember when those bodies were found late November in that Vlakfontein home. It sent shockwaves throughout the country. A lot of questions were asked. Police then on the manhunt for Ernest Mabaso, who on the 18th of January was found hanging from shoelaces in a Cape Town cell while they were conducting further investigations into claims that he had made during this particular bail application that he had been abducted and that his abductees had then asked him to take out the 7 Vlakfontein members. I think what police had then wanted to link was that there was a possibility that Khupe, who is now the sole accused in this particular matter, could possibly be behind the abduction of Mabaso. But in the wake of those bodies that were found there, again questions being raised around the high levels of gender violence in this particular case. You'll remember, Desiree, that those bodies were only discovered because of that stench that had now moved into the greater part of that community, and it was that stench that then had tipped off a neighbor to alert police to come and find out what was happened. There were 4 bodies in that main house and 3 bodies in the outbuilding, and it was shocking events that really emanated from those particular discoveries there in late November, Desiree. Well, in the wake of that, we have been in a very lengthy bail application. Mabaso had implicated Fita Khupe as the mastermind in this matter. We also know that cell phone records that police had brought to this bail application shows that there was constant communication between Fita Khupe as well as Ernest Mabaso. And Khupe has basically refuted and denied all the claims that Mabaso has made, that he was present when some of those family members were raped and killed. Very graphic details also coming out of Mabaso's affidavit read out in court, talking about how he had taken out those family members using an axe, but also that he claims that Khupe had told him to rape those some of the minors, but also some of the women who were victims of this particular gruesome and macabre crime, Desiree.
It's a very bizarre turnout of this story. You've been able to interact with family a bit, and obviously they want justice done. How are they feeling in terms of these recent outcomes? Legal opinion very divided on the chances of Mabaso to walk scot-free.
There's a lot of rumoring now, Desiree, around whether Mabaso committed suicide or whether it was a tactic to basically ensure that this matter doesn't go ahead. A lot of detail now coming out, Desiree, legal detail around whether, that confession that Mabaso made, as well as that affidavit that was read out during this bail application, whether it will hold water in a trial court. And that is the grounds that Khupe is using now in his submissions that he has put before court last week, asking the court to really look into whether these charges will stand, and that there was a sole person who had accused him who is no longer there. The community, on the one hand, Desiree, they say they're going to push that Khupe doesn't walk out of this court, be it for a bail application or as an accused person if it goes to trial. Very confusing still for them, but on the one hand, them being relieved that Mabaso was dead, but also that Mabaso has also now taken all these details, graphic details, and really what happened during the days leading up to the first deaths, as well as when those bodies were discovered, really taking all of those answers with him, and now leaving the community with more questions, Desiree. So it's happiness or relief on the one hand rather, but also still a lot of questions around what has happened, why were they taken out, who are the real people or masterminds behind this? And those questions Mabaso took with him, now, and he is now no longer there, and this leaves a lot of questions for everyone, Desiree.
Gillian, I meant Khupe walking away there. So do you already have a sense of what will happen today?
The prosecution had, in their submission, said, Desiree, that this is a bail application. It's not a trial court. So the court must apply its mind around whether it would be in the interest of justice to release Khupe on bail. And it's difficult to read which way the court will go in this particular matter. It is a very unique, a unique set of circumstances now that this prime suspect is no longer there, who had implicated the sole accused, who's in the dock now. Khupe's defense really putting forward details around whether this will really hold water in a trial court. But it's very difficult to read which way the court will go in its decision-making today, Desiree. But it will be interesting to see if Khupe will then be denied bail, if he is denied bail, and what further evidence the prosecution will put forward so that they could then again have a watertight case like they did before the alleged suicide of Mabaso, Desiree.
Thank you so much, Gillian. We will be connecting with you again later on to find out how the proceedings unfold.